Hey everyone, it's Mr. Southern coming at you with a lesson on Unit 6, Lesson 7 for lists of objects. I went through the few of the choices in class. I'm going through the other choices that I did not go through in class. So if you were in class and you're also watching this at home, I'm helping you basically take out to the choices. So list of objects isn't too bad. It does get a little complicated in Module 7, as you probably saw already. But I wanted to spend some time going over Module 6 first, which is the easy one. First thing I need to do is we're going to use the refactor word. And what that means is we're going to change anything that's a 1D array. We're going to go ahead and change all that to be array list. I'm going to go ahead and change all this to be comments. And then now, thanks to code.org, they've already set it up so that everything else is going to be an array list that's already there. So all the code's done for you. So you have to delete all the comments, just like I'm doing. And just so you understand what's happening here, we have an array list that's looking at the string class type, right? So this is a generic type. There's an object for responses that's being created for the new array list. And then to that array list, we're going to add all of these, presumably the reviews, I think, on this one. Okay, so the responses to a survey looks like. All right. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to survey.java, and basically everything was written as if it was for a 1D array. So in order to refactor all of this, I'm going to go ahead, instead of a string data type for a 1D array, remember we're going to go ahead and do the array list with the angle brackets. And inside the angle brackets, I'm going to put in the class that we want there, which is the string class. And that takes care of that. So I'm kind of hunting for all of these the hard brackets and changing them to array list string. So I'm just redoing all of these, which is refactoring. So it's a little bit kind of annoying, but kind of fun to find all of them and then refactor them. The main thing to pay attention to, this one. So for an array, if we want to know how many elements are in the array, we would use the dot length. But for an array list, we have to use dot size, right, with the parentheses. Furthermore, instead of responses bracket index, we now have to do responses list, and then we're going to do the get index, right? That's what's going to populate all the values of my array list called responses. Let me just run it to make sure that there's no issues. Today's a slow internet day, so let me try and restart it. I don't know why it's not going, but the code should be correct. Eventually it'll compile. And I'm gonna go ahead and maybe because it's slow internet day, we'll see how quickly this goes. Anyway, I guess it's not going to work. So it should generate. This will be a success in terms of the test. Again, I don't know if it's going to let me do it, but that's fine. I'll just move on. Okay, take my word that it works. Okay, so then if I go to module, oh, it looks like there it is. So we succeeded everything. All right, so I'm gonna go over to module 7. And then I'm gonna go over to, I did choice A in class. Choice B, patient appointments, is a little bit easier than choice A. So I'll go ahead and go through that first. Basically, we have all of these appointments that are here. We add them to the array list, and then your job is to go ahead and go to the clinic class, right? And we're going to go ahead and write the code for the method get appointments by doctor. So again, as the name denotes, we excuse me, we basically want to separate out where the appointments are by doctor. So if you go to clinic runner, excuse me, we have appointments with Dr. Green, Dr. Wright, Dr. Davis. Those are the 3 doctors that are available. Okay, so presumably, like, there's some sort of software and people are booking online appointments. And then part of the computer, what it does is it assigns, say, Ahmed is supposed to be assigned to Dr. Green, versus Maria is also Dr. Green, but Aaliyah is going to go to Dr. Wright, things like that. So it's going to go ahead and automatically separate out who's with what doctor. That's our goal. So it is actually kind of like real world here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the to-dos. So we have get appointments by doctor. It's going to take in some sort of string value for doc to find. Okay. So in terms of doc to find, what I'm going to do is, let me just double check something here. The appointment is what's going to make all of the first name, last name, doctor, etc. And then I'm kind of looking through everything just to make sure I didn't miss anything. There's get doctor, get date and time. And then clinic, I'm just checking through all the other methods here. Excuse me. It looks like we have appointments to string already made for us, which is great. So it'll make printing a lot easier. Okay, let's go back to the directions. First thing I need to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a new array list of appointment objects. How we're going to do that is we're going to go ahead and make the array list, right? Brackets and then or angle brackets. And this time we want to go ahead and look to the appointment class, right? For the array list. That's the main thing we need to do. And we're going to go ahead and call it, I just call it doc appointments. And that's going to be equal to new array list, right? So we're just basically instantiating this new object. And again, we're going to point to the appointment class. Don't forget the parentheses at the end. All right, so then I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we add each appointment to the matching doctor defined, right? That's given to us. So if I say, hey, give me all the appointments by Dr. Green, then it'll find it for you. So how we're going to do that is we have to use a for loop, right? Because we have to traverse the array list. And I'm going to do the same old thing, index equals 0. And I'm going to go ahead and run this till we get to the end of the appointments array, right? That's our array list there. So it's going to be appointments dot size. And then let's go ahead and do index plus plus at the end. All right. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and find some sort of value for each element in the appointments list, right? So there's already an appointments array list made. I have to go get that information now. So I'm going to go ahead and set in the appointment class, I'm going to go ahead and set appointment hunter equal to appointments dot get index. Okay. So this is going to allow me to go grab info for each element in that original appointments list. Right, because probably most of you are asking, why did you make a new array list when we already have an array list? So remember, the array list that we have is an array list of objects. It has, if you look at Clinic Runner, it's storing the values of the client name or the patient name, the doctor name, and then the appointment date and time. So all of that is in one object. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 objects in this appointments array list. We're making a new array list so we can just store the doctor names that correspond to those. All right, so then now that I have my for loop going, so we're going to go ahead and fill all the values of appointments, the array list, and go ahead and assign them over to appointment hunter. And then I need to check to see if the variable matches doc define. Then we need to add it to the new array list we just made. So we're going to do that. So if we want to check to see if the variables match, we're going to use an if statement. And we're going to use that appointment hunter and go ahead and get doctor. So remember, get doctor is a method that's already there. I think I saw an appointment. There it is. That's going to return the doctor name. So when I use the get doctor, right? And again, we're all pointing to the appointment class. So the array list is already coded to know, hey, we're going to point to the appointment class and grab when we can use their methods in that appointment class. And then we need to make sure, hey, does this get doctor, when it's going to return Dr. Green, does it equal the value of doc defined, right? So if I say, hey, go find me the appointments for Dr. Wright, it's going to go ahead and check that appointment hunter when I use the get doctor method to return the doctor's name, that's equivalent to what I'm hunting for. And then finally, we're going to do doc appointments that I had. And we're going to go ahead and add the appointment hunter there. Right. So once I find that Dr. Green is a match or Dr. Wright is a match, I'm going to go ahead and add that information in to my new array list. And then we're going to go ahead and return. Guess what? Doc appointments. All right. Hopefully I spelled that correctly. Let's run it just to make sure there's no errors. Will my internet hold up? Okay. So it ran, no problems. Great. So then when I go to Clinic Runner, this is the one where we have to call the appointment get appointments by doctor first, and then in order to print it, I need to use this appointments to string, right, which I saw in the clinic class. So let's go ahead and call the get appointments by doctor, right? And how we're going to do that is we're going to go ahead and we need to make a new array list, right? Looking at the appointment class. And it's going to go ahead and create a new doctor, right? So this is going to be able to create a doctor object. And that's going to be my object. And let's go ahead and use the get appointments by doctor. And there is a parameter for get appointments by doctor, which is string doctor find. So I need to put in the doctor's name. Let's look up Dr. Davis. All right, so I'm going to look up Dr. Davis. So anything that's related to Dr. Davis is going to get stored in this new array list appointment, doc1. And then we're going to go ahead and print the results, right? So now it's called. Now I need to go ahead and print that value. So we're going to do system.println. And let's go ahead and do, so again, we're going to call the appointments to string method. Let's just make sure we know what's going on with that. Here's appointments to string. It is not a static method, obviously. And then look what it takes in as a parameter. It's going to take in the array list that we just created for the doctor. So I need to go ahead and use clinic again to call the method at appointments to string. Inside the parentheses, we need to put Dr. Green's object basically in there. And let's hope this runs. And if it doesn't run because of my Wi-Fi issues, then, oh, looks like we got an issue. What's the matter here? It's unhappy with line 23. We had array list appointment. Doc1, we did clinic. I spelled that correctly. Get up appoints, appointments. There's my typo. So hopefully that's just a syntax error. There we go. So now it shows me the appointment just for Dr. Davis. And if we test it, we should be good. Eventually it'll connect, and I don't want to waste your time. So I'll call that as the end of my video. Thanks.